right. Hi, everyone. This is the second part of the relationships episode. If you haven't seen the first one, click the link above and watch that one first. That one was on friends and family. This one's going to be on like love interest relationship, like not friends and family. If you tagged into the last one, that was kind of focused on relationships with friends in Canada and the US. Obviously, my husband's American, but most of my relationships were with Canadians. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but we're just going to kind of talk about all of it, and there'll be like not really distinctions. I mean, other than Colin being the only American. Thank you for watching, everybody. I got some more subscribers. I'm hoping by the end of this month we'll have 30. I think we're at like 22 right now, which is so exciting. So I'm hoping to get 30 at the end of the month. That's my next goal. So if you can like, share, comment below, or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, that would be great. Share this with your friends, and then hopefully they'll also love the journey as well. So, relationships. This is, kind of one that I was dreading taping because, old relationships, you don't want to rehash those. It's not as fun. It's just not, once you break up with someone or like a relationship ends, you kind of leave that in the past, right? So, we'll talk about it today just for the sake of my journey. But I'm gonna tie it in with something I really do like, which is Harry Potter. So we're gonna make it a little bit more fun. For the sake of, interest, we're gonna talk about, relationships that actually meant something, not little flings. So in high school, I was pretty dedicated on school. I have always been the nerdy kid. I've always wanted good grades. I always knew I wanted to go to college, so I needed the grades to get into the college I wanted to get into. I wanted to go to Dalhousie, which is a school that has a dental school in it, in Halifax, which is Nova Scotia. So I kind of knew I wanted to go away to school, so I didn't really want like a relationship in high school, knowing that I was planning on leaving. So my first kind of relationship was like unrequited love. So, it didn't really turn into anything. Nothing really happened. It was just a boy I used to really like. We went on a school trip. That school trip gave us, well, it wasn't really with school. It was like a program outside of school, but like all your classmates would go on it. So it was a school trip, but you got to drink on it. So we didn't really count that as school activities. But on that trip is, when I threw that V card out the window, which was probably not the best place to do that because, you're on a trip with a bunch of immature high school kids. But, when you're that age, you're not really thinking about the big picture. So I ended up embarrassing the crap out of myself. Got some pictures posted on Facebook that weren't very great. Eventually got those taken down through perseverance. And also because I'm just angry. Maybe they were scared of me. My next relationship was more of, I'd say, a more serious relationship. Kind of the only serious relationship I had in high school. And that one, because I was so set on not having a relationship and going away to school, I tried to not, get into one. But you try not to do something and it ends up happening anyways. So I was dating my first like real boyfriend. We'll call him he who shall not be named, because we don't need to name his name. And he was friends with my friends. We were, and my girlfriends were also dating his friends. And so there was like a lot of intermingling of friendships and stuff. So I think that's why it was so difficult when I found out he cheated on me, because we have so many friends, and I knew if, I kind of rocked the boat of our friendship group, that could mean I could lose some friends. So that was scary to me, because as I've spoken about previously, friendships and not being alone is something that I find great anxiety in. It's really scary to me to think about being alone. So I was kind of scared to break up with him. I mean, there was red flags in the beginning. We were just kind of like dating, and he was still hooking up with his ex-girlfriend. So that should have been a red flag to me immediately, to be like, this is not the one, but you're dumb. So, and I was blind to it. So, we continued our relationship. We dated for a while when I found out that he had cheated on me, again, multiple times. And so as a immature high school girl, I had the argument, got really upset about it, and he promised he would never do it again and was the sweetest guy ever and blah, 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 blah. So I forgave him. Unfortunately, that wasn't the first time he cheated on me, and I ended up finding out kind of towards the end of our relationship that he, had Facebook messages of messaging girls. He met up with a couple of those girls. A couple of those girls told me they'd met up multiple times. So yeah, it was kind of rough. I definitely had a lot of tears going on in that relationship. But the crazy thing is, I ended up going to Dalhousie, the school I wanted to go to, and we were still dating at that time, because, this was before, or this was actually after the first time I found out. So I was terrified to go away to school, because I'm like, how am I supposed to keep an eye on him when I'm so far away? But, going into school or going before that was the thought that, like, I don't want to be in a relationship, so I shouldn't care. I ended up coming back from that school. Probably, a little bit was because I wanted to come home and check on him, but also because I just was not happy at that school. I don't know. I just remember sitting at my dorm room and just being like, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't want to be here. I don't feel ready yet. So I ended up taking a year off of school. During that year off, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, he who shall not be named, and he actually showed up at my work, tried to kind of like rehash things and like, try to get back together again, but it just, mind you, my work was 3 hours away from where he was living, and where I had moved to, because we broke up. I moved out because I did live with him for my last year of high school, because my parents ended up moving away and I didn't want to. I think I talked about that earlier. So I ended up living with him. We broke up. I moved in with my friend, and I stayed with her until school was done, and then that summer was done, and then I went back home. I think that might have been in between, like, my time off of school, because I ended up taking an extra class while I was technically taking a year off. So after the, officially broke up, he tried to come to my work. We tried to rehash things. We decided no. We were over, but we were still kind of texting here and there. In that meantime, I actually, my hairdresser actually introduced me to an older guy, she kind of told me he's more mature, he's got a job, he's got, a house, he's got his crap together, basically. I think we were like 4 or 5 years apart. But at that point I was in my 20s, I think I was 19. So, that gap wasn't a big deal. I wasn't in high school anymore. I'm an adult. So, that was a very casual relationship, honestly, like healing for me, because, I was just so used to kind of feeling like everything was my fault and that I wasn't good enough, and that's why I was getting cheated on. So this kind of helped build my confidence back up because it was so casual and so easy. Like, it didn't really, we checked in, and when we were in the same area, like, we would go on dates or like hang out and stuff. So it was just pretty simple and easy. He ended up, he worked for a company that would take him out of the town or the vicinity of the town that I lived in a lot. So I think that's what kept it really casual. And also, I don't think he really wanted a super serious relationship either. So it was just kind of easygoing. When he actually picked up and was gone for like a while, we kind of just like stopped talking. In that time of not talking, I actually, I was going to the bars, partying, having fun, having a good time, not looking for a relationship, not looking for anything serious. I actually ended up meeting my husband. I'm really good at doing things in relationships where I'm like, I don't want to do this, and then I end up doing that exact thing. But I was not looking for a relationship, so I was just, on the dance floor having a great time. He actually tapped on my shoulder and asked me if I had any friends at the club with me. I introduced him to all of my friends, which at the time I was working at a Tex-Mex restaurant, so I introduced him as all of our like fake names. Mine was Peaches. I think there was like Montana, Rodeo, I don't know, a bunch of like crazy names like that. So I think when I first introduced him to my friends, he was like, are these like strippers? Which, nothing against strippers, but he just was like, are these your actual names? I actually eventually, I think that night did tell him like, these are pretend names. But we ended up hanging out that whole night, dancing and, taking shots and, the regular club stuff, having a good time. At the end of the night, the club closed and opens to like a street where there's a bunch of clubs, so everyone just like kind of stands in the street and like mingles and stuff when all the clubs close. So we actually ended up talking on the curb. I don't know, it was like an hour, could have been more. And at that time I was drinking a lot, so I don't remember too much. But I just know like I thought that he was really sweet, and he wasn't really like creepy or too touchy-feely or anything like that. So I just remember, enjoying my time with him. But because I was not looking for a relationship, he was like, I'm gonna let my friends know where I'm at. And then he kind of like walked off. And at that time, my friends were like, okay, we gotta go now. Like, it's time to leave. So I wasn't missing my ride. So I hopped into the cab. And I remember waving bye to him out of the cab, and he was kind of like, what the heck? Like, I thought we were having a good time. So, I, drove myself home. Luckily though, that night he put his phone number in my phone. So, Facebook phone magic, put him on my Facebook as people you may know. So I ended up adding him, and, he he pretty quickly asked me out on a date, and I decided, why not give him a chance? He was really sweet. So he added me on Facebook, or I added him on Facebook, and then he messaged me and asked me if he could take me out on a real date. And so we kind of like talked back and forth, actually on, I think it was Skype or something at the time, for a bit. Just, getting to know each other, because the only time we'd ever met before that was the bar. So I ended up agreeing to a date. He came to Canada because he was living in the US. Obviously, he's an American soldier and I was a Canadian. He came to Canada. We hung out for the whole weekend. And we actually ended up like really hitting it off. We had a really great weekend. We had so much fun. And we kind of started like casually dating after that. And then I think it was like November, because that was October. The end of November we started dating. And then, things kind of progressed from there. I think it was it might have been that August, maybe, or maybe the next August. I think it was that August he asked me to marry him. So we kind of knew we had to either, for lack of better words, shit or get off the pot, just because we lived in different countries and he was in the process of getting out of the military, so he wasn't going to be living close to me anymore. He was either going to go back to California or he's going to move to New Hampshire, which either one wasn't very close. So we kind of had to figure things out quickly. The crazy part about that was, you know, the process of doing a fiance visa. That took about a year, so we were engaged for about a year and a bit before we moved. I think we moved both of us across the border, in January, and then we got married that February. So we'll be celebrating our 9th wedding anniversary in February. We're really excited for 10 years because we're hoping to go on vacation for our 10 year, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he ended up being, you know, somebody I was not looking for, somebody I was not expecting to marry. I was not expecting to have to do the whole fiance visa process and move to the US. I do not wish that on anybody. It's a very difficult process. It's expensive. It's hard. It requires a lot. You have to get medical appointments. Just, you know, you have to make a certain amount of money, and if you don't, then you have to get a sponsor, which we had to get a sponsor because obviously we were just like 2 young kids. By the time we figured everything out and we were married, I think I was like I was turning 22. So we were, you know, not super young, but younger of, you know, I was the first to get married out of any of my friends. But, you know, we're happily married here now, so obviously it was a good decision. So obviously, you know, romantic relationships have been like difficult for me. You know, my first one was very hostile, very traumatic, caused a lot of anxiety and trust issues. My second relationship, if you want to call it that, helped kind of pull down those walls a little bit and make me a little more open to the possibility of, you know, loving someone again. And then my last relationship, you know, was my husband. So having him, we've definitely kind of learned that communication is a really important thing in a relationship. We actually took couples therapy together, which I think I spoke in the therapy episode was kind of the best therapy I've ever had. It was like the most useful, and it made the most sense to me out of therapy. And I think we hit it off with our therapist. Both of us really liked her, so it was really helpful for us to kind of, you know, if we had like an argument or a disagreement or something that went on during the week, we could like talk to her at the end of the week and like find a better way to work through it, and work on our communication skills. So I think that was really helpful for us, because now, I mean, you know, not every relationships aren't perfect. There's always going to be arguments. And we, you know, definitely have some good ones. So having those building blocks to come back to, I think, is really good. And then, you know, us working on ourselves. So I've been working on myself, doing these videos to try to improve my anxiety, try to improve my depression. And then my husband has a therapist that he really likes, that he works through. His being able to work on ourselves and then come together as a couple is really, really important. So I think, honestly, in the relationships, like with my husband, we go through these ups and downs, which I think are really tied to how I'm feeling, because he's very empathetic. He feels everything. Like, he can just tell when I'm upset, and he gets upset. So I think improving how I deal with my stress and anxiety is going to also help him as well with his stress and anxiety for me, about me. Which I know it's not good for us to kind of feed off of each other. But I think, you know, it's kind of hard to help sometimes. So I think having me create this community and have somewhere to kind of get my frustrations or my anxieties out is going to be like really, really great for the both of us. We also have a son together, and our son is like, you know, our number one. We just, he's just really awesome. So I think that is another thing to keep us going and to keep us improving and building on ourselves so that we can be a better parent toward him. He's, you know, besides my husband, the two of them are my most important relationships that I really want to work. Like my family is great. Like I love my family as well, but I mean like my internal relationships in my home, they're the most important. So I think that working on this and talking through our anxiety and working on our communication is going to be the kicker for us, and hopefully, you know, give us a 20-year anniversary in 11 years. But yeah, I think we're definitely improving, and I'm really proud of us, and I'm proud of me. You know, doing these little YouTube videos every week has been really therapeutic for me. I feel great afterwards, and I think you can notice it in my face. Look at my skin. My skin is getting so much better. I have my last laser appointment on Friday, and you know, that's probably definitely helping as well. But decreasing my stress, I think, is also improving my face, because my face is definitely attached to stress and hormones as well. So I'm really excited about my next appointment. We will be probably making a full reel, or maybe even a YouTube, depending on how long that's going to be, on that. And I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my relationship troubles. I know, you know, it's far from the worst thing you've ever heard, but everything feels big to everyone. So it's important to, you know, talk about things and work on things and improve future relationships. So I think, you know, talking about my friends and my family and my previous romantic relationships is difficult, but it's important in improving me as a person and progressing in my journey. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you can like, comment, and share this video, that would mean the world to me. It means I can continue to make videos. It means I can continue to make content. I've started a TikTok, so if you'd love to go check out more of my antics, because I'm a little bit more silly on my TikTok. It is called Fun Facts with Abby. We'll put a link in the description below. And I also have my Instagram page, which I'm posting reels about, you know, DIYs, festivals, travel, stuff that we're doing. That's all on there. So if you can follow me on my socials, check in, see what we're doing. I'd love to hear what you're doing. Also, if you hear of anything going on, or you know, something that I might like, definitely throw that in the comments as well, because you know, I'm always looking for stuff to make content. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you'll see some more videos. I try to release a YouTube every Sunday. On my other socials, I release periodically throughout the week. So subscribe, share, comment, and I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in again. Goodbye.